Checks for Understanding are a formative assessment method that enable teachers to make instructional decisions in real time, responding to the needs of students. OCHA lessons have Checks for Understanding embedded throughout the resources, indicated with the CFU icon in the top right corner of the slide. These slides indicate places where a teacher can pause and check what their students currently know and can do. Dylan Williams says that for Checks for Understanding to be effective, we need to be using information from every student in the class, so we need to have an efficient mechanism for frequently checking. In that way, we ensure that all students are with us at every step and gain maximum benefit from the instruction. An effective Checking for Understanding question will ideally include the following framework: address a success criteria in our lesson and ensure that they are asked to all students. Teachers need to see every student's level of understanding, not just a couple of students with their hands up. That's why whiteboards are such a helpful way of checking for understanding. They're not the only way that you can do it, but they need to be quick to ask, quick to answer, and quick to check questions. And therefore, whiteboards work well in providing efficient, frequent checks throughout the lesson. A check for understanding might also take the form of a well-constructed multiple choice question. Deliberate planning to include misconceptions, provide multiple correct answers, and leave out obviously silly answers will make multiple choice questions an effective source of information for the teacher. The inclusion of common misconceptions is a crucial screener so that students don't carry those misconceptions forward with them into the next steps of the lesson. If that happens, they can become more ingrained, making them harder to correct and reducing the students' understanding of the next steps of the lesson. There are a couple of different places in the lesson where you might require to check for understanding. The first is an early check for understanding directly after introduction of a concept. This doesn't mean checking the whole skill, as it won't have been taught yet, but can be about simple recognition of the concept or its boundaries. Types of questions that might be included at this point are identification of examples and non-examples, definitions of key terms, or true or false statements. Another place where a check for understanding performs a vital function is in between the we do and the you do sections of an instructional cycle, based on the skill that has just been taught. A check for understanding here would involve students performing the skill in order to check if they're ready to complete it with minimal support or prompting, for example in the you do section, or to assess if they are secure in their understanding before moving on to the next step of the lesson. Checking for understanding is a key element of good teaching, and the OCHA materials help support their effective use in the classroom.